Welcome to Hue at Home. I'm Tracy Koga. Well, do you have aspirations of being a filmmaker? Well, look no further because I'm going to have a sit-down chat with Alan Wong. He's a Winnipegger that has gone from musical theater to an actor to behind the camera. And we'll find out more on what it takes to be not only a filmmaker but a storyteller. Alan is now the director for the Gimli International Film Festival, just rebranded, and also the founder and president of Fascinasian Film Festival. So sit back and let's hear the story about how you might be soon a new filmmaker. Well, welcome Alan to Hue at Home. It's been a while and boy, we have a lot to talk about. Films, and especially in what we're living in this pandemic. Films and entertainment online has kept us sane, I guess, so to speak. But for you, films have always been a passion for you. So I want to know more about Alan Wong, the little boy. I mean, did you have a camera in your hand at 5 years old?
No, not at all, not at all. This is funny. How far do you want me to go back? How far do you want me to? How much time do we have? Because
Oh, yeah,
there's a
we've
lot.
got, according to this and what we're living in, yeah, we've got all the time to talk. But no, okay, I want to go back like your childhood, where you grew up.
Well, I was born in Winnipeg. My parents immigrated here from Hong Kong back in the 70s, and when I was born, it was in Winnipeg, but we were unsettled, and so they moved around quite a bit. Lived for a while in Alberta, lived in BC for a while, but then eventually ending up back in Manitoba, in some rural communities. And so in those rural communities, they ran a Chinese restaurant very similar to what every small town has, and so when they were working all the time, it's a pretty pretty thankless job running a small town restaurant. So they were always busy, and so me and my siblings were always kind of left to our own devices, and which meant a lot of watching TV and movies and playing video games and reading books and listening to whatever and consuming a lot of media to kind of keep us entertained, right, and busy. And yeah, I just kind of fell in love with movies. I fell in love with musical theater as well, and music in general. Fell in love with all of it. So I knew that I wanted to be a part of the entertainment industry. And so my first real love, I guess, when I had sort of got to the age that I could really try to decide what I wanted to do, was music and musical theater. And so I went and got a music degree from Brandon University. And through that, I also was able to explore my interests in acting because, part of it was part of musical theater obviously is more than just the singing, but the acting as well. And so even though I was there kind of focusing on the singing aspect, I did take acting classes and dance classes outside of that because musical theater, you have to be a triple threat, right? And so you got to work on all those three of those skills. And anyways, I discovered that I wasn't the strongest dancer just because I didn't have the background, the years and years of background of dance behind me. So, but I can move all right. And so I focused more on the acting and the music side of it. And after university, you know, when and did a bunch of theater, did some Fringe festival, started with the Fringe festival, got into the Manitoba Opera Chorus, Gilbert and Sullivan, Rainbow Stage, Celebrations Dinner Theater, and then just things kind of evolved from there. Just kept on working and honing my craft, and then I got into film acting because once you're a kind of a professional theater artist, you that's sort of there's a bit of a that side of the
Mhm.
acting world opens itself up to you. And so I started auditioning for film and television roles and doing some background, and just learning more about that industry. And it was pretty fascinating. I really loved it, and decided to move out to Vancouver to pursue it, and got an agent and everything, which is kind of which was new for me
Mhm.
because Manitoba doesn't really have agents for film. even for theater, right? So, um, yeah, and was working out there and making a name for myself and making my way through learning more and more about the industry all the time, like from that perspective, because Vancouver is a pretty well, it's the second largest filming center
Hmm.
in Canada, right? So they call it Hollywood of the North because all
Yeah.
the Hollywood production, since it's on the same
Okay.
time zone,
Yes.
it's easy for them to come up and shoot tons and tons of TV shows and films there. A lot more commercial stuff,
Hmm.
which was interesting to see that side of it. And for me specifically, I found that there weren't as many roles that were open to me,
Hmm.
and so it's pretty. I was pigeonholed a lot into a certain type of role, and this is, obviously I was younger and I was, going out for these like Asian gangster roles or sometimes doctor roles or office worker roles, but never really anything with more, I don't know, more meaty or juicy, just very like stereotypical stuff. And so yeah, I got to a point where I realized that there was a bit of a glass ceiling, and I knew what I had in Vancouver and what I could do. And my choice was either to continue doing the same thing that I was doing there or um, come back to Manitoba and do some retraining and start to maybe try to create or support the development of projects and roles that told stories where people like myself were the focal point, or to just give more opportunities to um, actors like myself or who looked like me, right? And so I just recognized there needed to be a diversity, more diversity in entertainment, and yeah. And if I've been told by many people um, that if you want those to see those stories on screen, then you have to go out and make those stories yourself, make it happen yourself. And so I came
Oh.
back to Manitoba and started training, started taking workshops and classes about writing and cinematography and filmmaking and producing. And yeah, that was back in 2011. So 10 years later, I've worked my way through the industry here, made some short films of my own,
Hmm.
helped others get made, a lot of others get made. Worked for a production company, worked in crews as a freelancer, and then now I run the Gimli International Film Festival. And
So there
so
you go.
it's been quite a journey to get
Oh,
to this point.
okay. So I want to ask you then, Alan, truthfully, do you think we've done a good job, to put it bluntly, for a child like myself or another person of color to be able to see themselves on screen?
It's it's definitely gotten much better. I mean, since I returned to Manitoba, there's been such a focus uh, and energy put into the diversification and equal representation in media, and so I feel like it's definitely gotten a lot better, and I'm very, very optimistic for the future that it's going to continue to get better. Um, yeah, so that's the answer. I would say yes, it is easier and it is better now. So, but there's obviously still work to be done, and so that's kind of what Fascination's about,
Hmm.
is to give Asian filmmakers and stories the opportunity to be shown, another platform for them to be shown, and give them a little bit more support.
Well, and then for yourself as a filmmaker now, and can you judge them being in front of the in front of the camera, like as an actor, and then behind the lens? Is it two different
Yeah.
things, or what is it like for you?
Yeah, sure. Of course, there's a difference being in front of the camera and behind the camera. You're thinking when you're behind the camera, you think so much more about the whole, the whole project, like how it's going to look, how it's going to sound, you know, um, and how all the different actors play together, how how the story is paced, how it like, and how it feels.
Hmm.
Uh, afterwards, is there a message? But as an actor, you're way more concerned with um, you're focused on your job, right? You're focused on the minutia. You're focused on the embodying the character. So it's a different set of focuses. And there was one project that I tried acting and directing, and
Hmm.
I was like, never, I'll never do that again. Just because it's two different mindsets, you know?
Yeah.
You have to almost break out of it. And I think the actors who do act and direct in their own films successfully, they must have a lot of help. They must have a lot of support and a lot of help in order to do it successfully, because it is two different mindsets, and you can't be thinking about, when you're focused on acting, you can't be thinking about everything else that's going on. So
Oh, and there's a ton of things to think about when you're on set and when you're making a film.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so we're going to have I guess, the great opportunity to see one of your short films, A Dwarf's Hideout. And it has won awards too as well. So let's talk about, gaining that recognition, getting your film out to a festival. What is it like?
Yeah, so for an emerging filmmaker, it's so important to get your film out to festivals and be shown at festivals, because that gives you, it is really the only way that you're going to get some recognition, or some credentials, I guess, behind you. Because,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, if you make a short film, you can add that to your resume, whatever position you had, or if you were the filmmaker itself, then that can kind of be a part of your portfolio, right? But getting accepted into festivals, winning awards, that all kind of adds to giving you some clout, because there's so many people who are trying to do this now, because the entry level to be able to make a short film is so low, right? Anybody can really do it with the camera, even with the cell phone nowadays. And so um, having those extra accolades, achievements, help your case when you're applying for funding, or when you're looking
Mm-hmm.
for support, looking to partner with other people or entities to like make your next project, right? It's all part of building your career.
Oh, well,
It's like for a business, getting good
yeah.
reviews on Yelp or something.
Well, okay, so let's just go back to A Dwarf's Hideout. What was the process like for you? And you can actually maybe tell us a little bit about the story, and then we'll go right into the film.
Okay, sure. So that was a project that I applied to the Winnipeg Film Group's First Film Fund for,
Mm-hmm.
and it's for first-time filmmakers, basically. And so, if your story is strong enough, and seems like you've got in the application, a good team lined up, or at least have be able to express that you know what you're doing, then it goes through a jury process, and then they select, I guess, one or two films to fund
Mm-hmm.
through that grant. And so once we got that grant, we were able to proceed with production. It was a small team, just like four people. Myself, a camera person, a sound person, and then another sort of like utility, like assistant, production assistant, to help out with things. Um, and we basically followed uh, Take and Yasuko, the couple in the film. We followed them around for about 3 days, filming different things and talking to them. And really, the point was, I wanted to know why they wanted to stay in Winnipeg. They're both from Japan
Mm-hmm.
originally, came here for school, and I wanted to know why they wanted to stay, because they finished school and they ended up settling down here and raising a family here. So um, there's a lot of reasons why people live in Winnipeg, and I know for my family, being immigrants themselves, they had their reasons, and I wanted to know what these reasons were. And so it was kind of an investigation.
Aw. Well, sit back, folks, and enjoy A Dwarf's Hideout. And when we come back, we'll have more from Alan and talking about two festivals. So if you're an emerging filmmaker, you won't want to miss this. This is Hue at Home.
Um, first impression is when I, visited my sister. So it was in the middle of winter, right? It's nothing to do. My sister lived in north area, so like kind of like scary. It's like a ghost town. No one was there.
I used to play basketball. I love playing basketball. I thought if I come here in Canada, there's so many people playing basketball. Because I saw the basketball court everywhere outside, but no one's playing. I was looking for people to play with me, but I couldn't find it.
I didn't want to come to Winnipeg, but my mom sent me here because to learn English. But it was like middle of winter, so cold. It was like minus 30. Like I can't live here.
I've been here almost 10 years, Winnipeg, and winter is getting colder. So we talking about we should move out of Winnipeg, but we decided to stay here to open a new cafe.
I was gonna have just a gift shop, included my, products that I made. It's called Fake Sweet Seiko. It's very popular craft in Japan. So we kind of like, do you want to do it together? Okay, I'm gonna hire you. So you can work at the kitchen, Sushi restaurant is just a sushi restaurant, right? But we want to make a new,
Having some special.
new thing.
No one does it.
Yeah,
Winnipeg.
I was jogging by this restaurant and I see a sign in the window that says musicians wanted for live night. So I popped my head in and ended up talking and setting up the first time for me to come in and play. And I was just thinking about the idea of the dwarf's hideout, La Cachette du Nain, Dwarf No Cachette, which is made to be in its title a marriage, or at least an intimacy of the three cultures that come to exist here in this little nook at Saint Boniface.
La vie est belle, tu ne peux pas m'en convaincre autrement. La vie est belle, tu le verrais bien si tu te laissais le temps. La vie est belle, tu ne peux pas l'anéantir. La vie est belle, j'y crois à mourir.
I didn't like Winnipeg so much, but like somehow I started started this business because of getting married, having babies. I know lots of people here, so it's kind of hard to leave Winnipeg.
You have lots of good customer too. We never get the complaint, right?
No. Canadian customers really nice. Really nice. Like, they're so patient. Like, in Japan, if you made a customer more than 15 years, they wanna start yell at you. So I like Winnipeg people.
Winnipeg is nice.
Winnipeg is nice. And Tokyo is very busy. Very, very busy. But here, time goes so slow.
C'est une foire de petits papillons jaunes.
We're back. The city's hottest event is happening on Saturday, April 23rd at the beautiful downtown Metropolitan Entertainment Center. It is the 5th annual Winnipeg Nightlife and Lifestyle Awards. This year we're changing it up. We're going to recognize and honor all those who have pivoted, made a difference, supported others, and above all, found success during the pandemic. Go to the website wnla.ca and nominate now. Nominations close February 21st, and then the voting begins. Who's going to win? Well, we'll soon find out, and we'll see you at the show. Welcome back to Hue at Home. That was A Dwarf's Hideout. I have the filmmaker here again, Alan Wong. And Alan, we're going to put on, I guess, a couple of different hats now. Let's first go to the Gimli International Film Festival, because this has been a mainstay for Manitobans anyways. And in the spring, or in the summer, in July, on the beach, watching movies. But it's far more than that. It's always an opportunity to be exposed to so many different filmmakers. And I guess that's the crux of why this little film fest was started. And where are you taking it now?
Yeah, well, we recently just rebranded, adding the international to the name, and that was something that our board of directors was unanimously and enthusiastically supportive of, because you know, the festival has grown so much over the past years, and really does reach out and to an international audience now, especially in the past couple of years that the pandemic has been happening. You know, we've been forced to move our screenings to online, and all of our festival activities were online for the past couple of years, with the exception of last year. We did a drive-in pop-up, and that was a lot of fun in the community of Gimli, something that, you know, people were really nostalgic about and enjoyed. But yeah, mainly virtual, and you know, because of that, we were able to reach audiences that maybe in the past had never, you know, had the ability to come to Gimli for the festival, or, you know, just it's a different time right now, right? With the virus and everything. So yeah, and so that's why we rebranded to the Gimli International Film Festival, to recognize that. But also because this is my first year taking over the reins of it. You know, we are going to try to go back to in-person screenings this year. We feel that, you know, with vaccines and with sort of like some of the protocols that the government has put in place in the past, in the recent past, we should be able to do it safely. You know, obviously we'll keep a close eye on what happens, and if we need to, you know, move it back to virtual, then that's always an option. We know we can do that. We know we can do that successfully, but it'd be nice to be able to like have the option of in person as well. And so that's what our plan is, to bring it back to the community, have in-person screenings, kind of come back to the core elements of the festival, simplified maybe, so that just in case something, you know, just in case we, for my sake, you know, as a first-time executive director, I'd like to kind of keep things simple and just make sure that we can pull it off successfully before getting too big again. Not that it's been too big, but in the past we've had quite a lot of going on with the festival, and you know, it's a very busy time. It's a very busy 5 days.
No doubt.
And we
then,
are also going to be doing a bit of a post-festival virtual festival, right? So everything that's all the sort of like the award-winning films, like a small selection of curated films, will go online on demand for 2 weeks after the festival is over. And so
nice.
that way we still retain that international audience who have, first heard of us and checked us out online over the past couple of years.
Oh, and that's the beauty of online. And you're right, it's people just watch things so much differently now.
Yeah.
So I was just going to touch on helping the emerging filmmakers too. I mean, there's always been that 48-hour contest and everything like that, which has been so kind of cool just for our local scene. Is that going to continue, or are you going to change that to help promote what's happening right here in our own backyard?
Yeah, so the 48-hour film screening has been a part of our festival for a long time. I don't see that changing. We do plan on continuing that. That's part of the things that our core activities. It's very popular, very well attended, and it brings a lot of the emerging filmmakers out to Gimli, and so it's a really great event for that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then your other hat as the president of Fascinasian Film Festival. I like F3. It sounds like Fast and Furious movie or something. Now, and this is really cool because you're really, I think, doing something that is true to your heart, correct?
Yeah, so this started off as an initiative. I was working with the Asian Heritage Society, and they're an organization that basically coordinates and facilitates the events around Asian Heritage Month in Manitoba. Asian Heritage Month is a federally recognized, I guess, a month long celebration of Asian contributions to Canada, and recognizing all and celebrating the diversity of Canada, right? So from an Asian standpoint, it's very similar to like Black History Month, I guess, but in the States. And so here we have, usually for Asian Heritage Month, there are, there's a big celebration at the Forks with a variety of community groups coming out to dance and sing and do lots of other sort of like representing their culture, right, from different Asian countries and cultures. And so from that, we did an Asian film night and realized there were actually quite a few Asian filmmakers in Winnipeg, in Manitoba. And so we started showing their shorts and then thought, okay, we can make this into a festival. And of course, tried to do that in 2020, but unfortunately, everything had to be canceled. But luckily, we were able to get a grant to sort of help to solidify the foundation of the organization and incorporate it and turn it to like a true nonprofit as opposed to just like a volunteer-run collective community event. And then last year, 2021, we had our first festival. It was virtual, but we were able to pull it off really successfully, and everybody was really happy with it. And we kind of did what we set out to do, was show films, celebrate local talent, get people together. A lot of the filmmakers maybe hadn't met each other before, but we were able to connect people, and we're planning to do it again this May, but hopefully in person this time.
And it's so fabulous. And we had talked previously in our first interview is being able to see ourselves on screen and to be a major part of a story as opposed to of being in the background. And then also being able to just be creative. I mean, we've heard your story, Alan, and it's so amazing. And we're so proud of you and so happy to have you here in Winnipeg. Now, I know as we're speaking and people are seeing this show, the deadline for Fascination is February 15th, but
for submissions, yes.
For submissions. But you could send an email to Alan and just say, please, 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 enter my film. And I guess lastly, Alan, what is the biggest part, I guess, of you coming back here to Winnipeg? What makes us so special?
I mean, I've always thought that Winnipeg was something special. Even when I was living in Alberta and BC, you realize when you live away from Winnipeg that there's pros and cons to every place, right? And the pros of Winnipeg were that there was so much potential here. Like when it came back, I recognized it. Like we used to have, maybe 4 or 5 productions a year filming here. And now there are 4 or 5 productions filming at one time, and we've literally tripled our production over the past 10 years. And it's fantastic because that just means more opportunities for people who are in this industry to work, to build careers in this industry, and yet still stay in Manitoba, still stay in Winnipeg. It offers way more opportunities for the actors, offers way more opportunities for crew, for writers, creative, like all aspects of the industry. And and the more people who are interested in the industry and wanting to create and wanting to work in it, that just means that there are more people interested in the festivals, right? And participating in them and creating a real sense of community, a real sense of community and fellowship, like within this industry locally.
Oh, well said. And we're so happy and so excited, looking forward to Fascinasian, the film festival coming up in May, and then in, I believe, end of July, is that when Gimli International Film Festival will happen?
So GIF is going to be July 20th to 24th this year, and then Fascinasian will be May 13th to 15th, but with maybe a special like free preview night on the 12th, which is a Thursday night. We might do a free public movie somewhere out like in the Exchange or something.
Yes, a pop-up movie. Hey, how good is that idea? Well, thank you so much, Alan. I know that you're going to have a very busy spring and summer, but we look forward to all of these great short films coming out, and maybe potentially a feature film, right, from a local filmmaker. Who knows?
Yeah, of course.
You might have your first feature. If you can fit that into your schedule.
Yeah, no, I can't. I really can't. But maybe one day.
Yes.
And right now, I'm just focused on, supporting other filmmakers, and that, I believe karma is a thing, and that, maybe one day when I want to make my own, then I'll get that support back.
Oh, most definitely. Thank you so much, Alan.
All right, thank you very much.
So the Hive is a climbing and fitness facility, so we're bouldering only, which means no ropes or harnesses. We use mats for protection. But the 4 pillars of our business are climbing, education, health and wellness, and community, and those aspects all kind of come together to create like a 5-star climbing experience.
Welcome back to Hue at Home. We want to give a special thank you to all of our guests on today's show and leave you with this question. If you had a chance to make your own film, what would it be about? We want to know, so send us an email to hello@ilikehue.com or message us on Facebook and Instagram at iLikeHue. But for now, stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you next time on Hue at Home.